Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is about 9:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just about 5 minutes to 10 o'clock. Camera's still. Sorry about that. Anyway, it's 5 minutes to 10. Coming to you from my house. I did not have a moment to live stream from the store. No, not anywhere. Remember, last Sunday, if you recall, last Sunday was like our second biggest day in November. It was like our third or fourth biggest day of the whole year. Um, Today was not going to compare to that. Like I was very busy, but I kept going. This isn't gonna equal up with last Sunday. It's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, and it didn't happen. We did about, I would say, 40% less this Sunday than last Sunday, but it was an okay Sunday. What was interesting, what really stuck with me was how many browsers we had. Like lots of people were out and about. Um, hey Dave, thanks. Lots of people were out and about browsing, hanging out, seeing what's what. As usual, a good two-thirds of the people who just wander in the store and look around don't buy anything. But last week was very busy, and almost everyone who wandered and bought something, maybe one third didn't. This was more back to normal. So I think we were maybe even a little busier, a little bit more packed than last week, but we didn't have the sales level. What did help was I had a few people come in who picked up, large stacks of stuff. I had someone, best response to the sale yet, um, probably across the board. I've had great customers come out and buy 10 or 12 books, but I have a customer who's just recently in the last year gotten into reading comics. He's watched lots of comic movies. He knows comic stuff, but he's read a bunch of, graphic novels that movies were based on, but he's never really collected or gotten into comics, and he's still not buying lots of new stuff, but he always checks out the dollar books, likes a cool variant cover, and any variant cover he buys, he reads the interior. So I was like, hey man, just so you know, the November clearance, the $3 number ones are in there. And after you get 10 of them, they're half price. You can get 10 of these guys for $15. And he went, I hear you, Chief. I don't think he called me Chief, but he's like, I hear you. All right, all right. And he spent like an hour back there. He grabbed like 4 or 5 variants, and then 36. I think it was 36, something like that. $3 number ones for half price. Just giant chunk. That my $3 number ones are now. There's nothing sticking out. There's nothing mushed in really hard. You can go in and go through those boxes pretty easily, thanks to that guy. But yeah, a few people coming out for the sale. A couple of customers coming to pick up hold lists. It was a decent Sunday, but not an exceptional Sunday. Unless we have an insane week like of business, unless it is incredibly, incredibly busy this week, there's no way we're competing with last year's November. That was the November where we did 90 and 75% off. Most of the store was different week, different sales sections. It was crazy. We made tons and tons of room then, right? We made a lot of room last year. Haven't made as much room this year, but definitely a nice turnout for the sale. And starting Wednesday, as I announced, starting Wednesday, everything in the sale is 50% off. You don't have to get 10 items. You can just pick up one. It'll be 50% off for the last 4 days of the sale. Obviously, Saturday doesn't count. So we got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. So Wednesday, 12 to 8. Thursday, we're going to be open on Thursday. I put it up on Google. 12 to 4 p.m. 12 to 4 p.m. on Thursday. If you have time, if you're traveling to Long Island for Thanksgiving, that's when we'll be open. 12 to 4 p.m. And then Friday's even shorter. Sunset, it's like 3:20. Sorry, sunset's like 4:20. 4:20. About 4:20. So we're closing at 3, just like this last week, right away at 3. That's Black Friday. Then we will be skipping the horrific Small Business Saturday in our town. No offense to the town. No offense to their ridiculous holiday parade. No offense. The holiday parade is horrible. They did it one time they did it on a Sunday. It was atrocious. So don't like that. They're going to light up the tree in Christmas Town, all that stuff on Small Business Saturday. We were closed. Guy who works in town came in, he goes, Small Business Saturday is coming, and I'm really jealous that you're closed on Saturday. But then we'll be open Sunday the 30th. Sunday the 30th will be the last day of the sale. All right, so all that's out of the way. I want to talk about a book that I read this weekend. I actually have about 15 pages left, but I want to talk about it today. This is the Ephemerata. Okay, I know it's hard to read backwards, but it's the Ephemerata. It's by the great Carol Tyler. Carol Tyler made a huge impact on the comics. Yes, we're doing a live stream right now, Alarm. Thank you. Carol Tyler made a huge impact on the comic scene by making 2 underground comics in the early 70s and then disappearing. It wasn't until the early 2000s, after her kid was grown and in high school, that she started working on comics again. She always worked on art. She did art for a living, but she didn't make comics. This book, The Ephemerata, is her dealing with the grief of the loss of her father, who her first full-length graphic novel was about 10 years ago. I guess Late Bloomer is her first full-length graphic novel. It's really about herself. But she did a book about her father, World War II veteran. This book deals with the loss of... She gives actually a list in the beginning, which is so intense just to see it all written down there. But the whole book is about the grief and pain of loss. And she gives this list of people she lost. The book is filled with metaphor. These are the plants of grief, and this is the root of melancholy. Like, it's filled with art that's trying to take the concepts and ideas that we deal with grief and pain and give them art. But right here, this is the list of all the people she lost in 5 years. Artists that she knew, children of friends, her mother, the nice kid next door, a longtime comic friend, a book editor and her publisher, her only sister, her husband, her sister's husband, a treasured friend, nice kid's dad, the nice kid next door who died, her father, her cousin, and her dog that she loved. And what's really interesting is that she does not discuss each person's death. She does not discuss the circumstances leading up to their death, except as it relates to her grief, as it relates to the pain she is suffering now that they're gone, what she's thinking about when those people... So the people who she wasn't that close with barely get mentioned. But this is someone who has intensely felt lost for the last 5 years, going through like the metaphor of grief. Here she is walking through the grief woods. Griefville, she calls it. These are the woods of loss. Each tree represents somebody or something that's lost. And it's really an intensely emotionally powerful book. But because of the way she focuses so intently on her own emotions, it really doesn't feel like a universal discussion about grief. It feels much more about her processing her issues. And I think that's the strength of the book. That's what makes the book good, is that it doesn't feel like someone's trying to tell you, look, this is how humans process grief. No. This isn't a scientific book. This is about one person going through it and really going through it. So when she gets hung up on her neighbor asking her to bury her dead dog, right? Her neighbor's dog died, and her neighbor, basically she says she's a lazy good for nothing, asked her to bury the dog. You're not sitting there like, what does this have to do with grief? What's the metaphor here? No, it's like, no, can you imagine? You're worried about your mother dying. Your sister has cancer. Your 92-year-old father is being impossible about your mother who's dying. And someone's like, hey, bury my dead dog for me. What a blankety blank. And it's really good in that sense. Obviously not a book for everybody. It's bleak. It's intense. It's very inside the creator's own head. Yeah, I don't expect those last 15 pages to be sunshine. She actually said this was supposed to be one book that covered all the pain in her life. But there will be a sequel now coming out in 2 years, because while she was finishing this book, her husband died. So she wants to do a special book about that pain. It's like, oh boy, I can't wait to read that one. But yeah, the last 50 pages, I imagine, are not going to be very happy and fun, Doc, but it's a beautiful book. It's a really well-made book. it struggles with its metaphors and art sometimes, but because the creator is struggling with their own emotions. So I think that's really good. As I said, the main reason for today's live stream was to point out all the stuff happening at the end of the sale. We're in the last week of the sale. So Wednesday, everything becomes 50% off. You don't have to buy quantity to get 50% off. Thursday, we are open 4 hours. Friday, we are open 3 hours. We are not open small business Saturday. And Sunday, the 30th, we will be finishing off the sale. 50% off all the clearance sections and lots of rearranging to follow for December. Tomorrow, if we do a live stream tomorrow, which I'm not so sure we're going to, if we're going to do a live stream tomorrow, I'm going to show off the new recommended gift section, which I put a whole bunch of signs up on Thursday and Friday. We'll talk about why I made it, how it worked, because I do not think it really helped a lot today. I don't think it made a huge impact, and I don't think it's necessarily going to make a huge impact for holiday sales. So I'm going to talk about why I think it might be a failure and why I'm going to keep it anyway, either tomorrow or Tuesday. And until then, remember, damn it, babies, you got to be kind.